Hi and welcome everyone to another video on my channel. My name is Denis and today we're going to talk about the best midfielders in FPL on each price point. So if you enjoy my content, leave a like, hit that subscribe button, but now let's get into it. Okay, so as I said before, today we're going to talk about the best midfielders in FPL and we're going to look at different price points. Now this video is going to be sectioned in more parts. Now first I really want to talk a little bit about the best premium midfielders, which are of course Mohamed Salah, Cole Palmer and Bukayo Saka from Arsenal. Now first I want to talk a little bit about Mohamed Salah because I just think that last season at least he was on a league of his own, and if you look at the stats, obviously he's the most expensive player in FPL this season, 14.5 millions. Please let me know in the comments down below what do you think about his price points. Is he going to be in your team or not? But if you look, his expected assists per 90 minutes were 0.4, his non-penalty expected goals per 90 minutes was 0.45. So this without even taking into consideration that he scored a lot of penalties. So these stats were amazing last season. Obviously he was the top scorer of the game. Now the fixtures are not going to be amazing for Liverpool in the start of the season. I tried here to have a bigger room because as you can see from the screen, I rated the fixtures from game week 1 to game week 10 thanks to Fantasy Football Hub, obviously. Now again, because I think that these players, if you're going to buy one of these premium options, I think that you want to have them at least for a few game weeks into your team. Now that doesn't mean that you can't jump on them if for an example someone like Cole Palmer is going to get injured. Obviously then you can sell them, but I just think that we need to give these players some games to prove themselves and then to decide to sell them. Now as you can see here, obviously Mohamed Salah is expected to score the most points from this list, 62 points from game week 1 to game week 8. I don't think that the question should be to go with Mohamed Salah or to go with Cole Palmer. I think that if you want to go for Mohamed Salah, you should just do it and then decide if you want to have another really expensive midfielder in your team like Palmer and Saka, because for me at the moment I think that Mohamed Salah is going to be as close as essential as you can get for this start of the season. Now obviously the fixtures are not amazing. As I said before, they're going to play against Bournemouth, Newcastle and Arsenal, I think, in the first 3 games, so that's not easy. But we're talking about Mohamed Salah, we're talking about Liverpool, a team who scored the most goals last season. So yeah, I think that's going to be a great option. I don't really need to talk too much about him. He's going to be on penalties. He just missed a penalty in a preseason friendly, so if you're asking me what I think about that, I don't think that he's going to lose the penalties. There's no way that's going to happen. Now let's see, obviously if he's going to miss a lot more, then maybe yeah, there's going to be a chance, but at the moment he's going to be on penalties. He's not going to be on set pieces. And although Liverpool improved a lot in this transfer market, so they bought Kerkez, they bought Frimpong, they bought Wirtz, they brought Ekitike, and probably they are going to buy also Alexander Isak alongside other players. So again, maybe the points are going to be a little bit more shared between the Liverpool attackers, but I still think that Mohamed Salah is going to score the most points for Liverpool. And here I think that we need to have a discussion because, for an example, a lot of people are going to own Mohamed Salah for game week 1, right? Probably more than 60%. And maybe you're thinking, I want to go a little bit different. I don't want to follow the crowd. I want to get a better rank, but also you need to take into consideration the captaincy, which is a really important thing. Although a lot of people are going to own Mohamed Salah, not everybody is going to captain him every game week, obviously. And if you have a player like Mohamed Salah or for example Palmer or Erling Haaland, you're going to be more safe with the captaincy. Because for an example, if you want to go without him for the first few gamings, I think that's totally fine. Obviously it is a big risk, but if you want to go a little bit different, I think that it can work out. Maybe you want to bench boost in game week 1, maybe you want to wildcard in game week 4, and then you can buy him in game week 4 against Burnley. If you're not going to do all those things, so if you don't plan to wildcard early, bench boost early, I think that Mohamed Salah is a really nice option for your team. And not just because he's 14.5 million, there are a lot of advantages to have such an expensive player in your team. For an example, if he's going to get injured or maybe he's not going to perform well, you can buy pretty much anyone else if you're going to sell Mohamed Salah. So again, if you want to go for him, fine. If you want to go for Haaland, amazing. If you want to go for both, I think that's a little bit too much, but obviously it could work out. But you're going to have a lot of cheap options and probably your bench is not going to be amazing. Okay, but now enough talk about Mohamed Salah, so let's move to the other two, Cole Palmer and Bukayo Saka. two options, 10 millions for Saka, 10.5 millions for Cole Palmer. They are really close. At the moment, as I said before, I don't think that the question is going to be Salah versus Palmer versus Bukayo Saka. I think that is going to be a little bit more Palmer versus Bukayo Saka, because I think that it's going to be a little bit tricky to have all three of these guys into your team. Now, again, it could work out, obviously, but if you want to pick just one, I'm going to try to help you decide at the moment. So Cole Palmer has the better fixtures, right? Crystal Palace at home, West Ham away, Fulham at home, and Bukayo Saka has Manchester United away, Leeds and Liverpool. Now, although Leeds and Man United are not horrible fixtures or something like that, Leeds is amazing. Maybe a lot of people are underestimated Manchester United, but I think that they are going to improve. But otherwise, the fixtures are decent for Arsenal in the first two game weeks, if you want to say it like that. Then they're going to play against Liverpool away. So after that, the fixtures are going to get a little bit better. So let's just try to ignore the fixtures, okay? Now, if we're looking at the expected assists per 90 minutes for last season, it's almost identical, 0.27 and 0.26 for Bukayo Saka. Now, if you're looking at the expected goals per 90 minutes for these players, Cole Palmer is a little bit better with 0.36, and also that's what I like about Cole Palmer. He has more chances to hold than Bukayo Saka. Bukayo Saka, I think that he's more of a consistent player. He's not always getting a lot of goals, a lot of assists, and with Palmer we know that he can do that, and obviously the fixtures are a little bit better for them. As you can see on the fixture difficulty rating, so 6 for Chelsea and 10 for Arsenal. That's taking into consideration the best fixtures for attacking players, obviously. Now, interestingly, for the predicted points from game week 1 to 8, Bukayo Saka is predicted to score almost 54 points and Cole Palmer 52. So they got that a little bit different than me. Now, if you're looking at the screen, you can see here the heat map of these players, where they were operating obviously last season, where they got their touches. Now, if you're looking at Bukayo Saka, obviously he's a right winger, so he operates a lot on the right, and also they are taking corners, as you can see from these graphics. They were both on penalties last season. Now, this is also a big difference this year. Now, Gyökeres is just starting for Arsenal in the preseason right now when I'm filming, so I'm not sure if they got a penalty or not, but Gyökeres could be on penalties, and that's the big problem for Bukayo Saka. Now, obviously, you don't want to really rely on penalties for your FPL players, but it is an important thing, because I really want to have a player who has more routes to points. If a player is going to be on set pieces, on corners, on penalties, has more chances to score you FPL points, obviously. Now, we're not going to talk about defensive contributions for these players, because they are offensive players, so probably they're not going to make a lot of them. If you're looking at Palmer, he's pretty much playing everywhere for Chelsea. We know that every goal, every assist from Chelsea pretty much is involved with Cole Palmer. Now, maybe he's going to not get you the assist, maybe he's going to do an assist to the assister, but what that tell me is that Cole Palmer is really involved in every action from Chelsea, and I just think that for me at the moment, Cole Palmer is a better pick to start the season with. Now, again, if we want to talk about differences, he was really bad in the last part of the season. He was great in the first part, so don't get me wrong, he scored more than 200 points, which is decent. I think that maybe people were a little bit underestimated him. Bukayo Saka was obviously injured for a long period of time in the last part of the season, so again, we can't judge them by their FPL points last season. I think that both of them are going to great picks in FPL. At some stages in our teams, I could see myself having Bukayo Saka, I could see myself having Palmer, but for game week 1 at the moment, if you need to decide between these two, I think that Cole Palmer is the better pick at the moment. Okay, now moving forward, I want to discuss a little bit about these three midfielders, priced between 8.5 and 9 millions. I think that it is going to be a really interesting conversation, because they are obviously really close talking about their price. As you can see, Wirtz, Bruno Fernandes and Marmoush from Manchester City. I think that all three of them could be decent options. Now, I know that I put Bruno Fernandes at some point in my avoid list, because I just think that the fixtures are not amazing for Manchester United to start the season with, but we need to discuss a little bit about them, because obviously he's priced at 9 millions and I want to give my opinion also on this. Now, if we talk, let's start with Wirtz and Marmoush, because they are priced the same. I think that all these players have the potential potential to be amazing, and all have pros and cons attached to them. Because if you're talking about Marmoush, he is the only player on this list who is not going to get probably 90 minutes every game week. I expect both of them, Bruno Fernandes and Wirtz, to play pretty much all the minutes for their teams. Now with Marmoush, we know that he's a midfielder from Manchester City, and for that reason we don't know when he's going to start or not, because he's playing under Pep Guardiola. Now obviously he played a lot of game weeks last season when he played as a number 9, because obviously Haaland was injured. Now he's classified as a midfielder in FPL, which is a really interesting thing. So he's going to score more points for goals, and he could get also clean sheet points for if Manchester City are going to keep a clean sheet. Obviously, now that Haaland is going to be fit and available for game week 1, Marmoush is not going to play probably as a number 9. We don't know if they're going to play with 2 strikers, but probably not. And we need to see what's going to happen also in the preseason. I still expect his minutes to be decent in this season. If you tell me right now that Marmoush is going to start 9 games out of 10, he would be 100% in my team at the moment, because he's going to play for City. They are going to score a lot of goals, they are going to improve, they are going to keep some clean sheets, and we know that they are a great team basically. So yeah, I really want a player who's going to start for Manchester City consistently, but I'm just not sure if you're going to get that with Marmoush. So it is a little bit of a risk with him. And if we talk about Wirtz, probably he's going to play 90 minutes every game week. Liverpool don't have that depth in midfield. They have players like Gravenberg, McAllister, Szoboszlai, Curtis Jones, but nobody does what Florian Wirtz can do for Liverpool. So I think that he's going to get the most minutes, and probably is going to score the most points for from all the midfielders said earlier. So again, I think that you have that safety with him. He's not having the same expected goals, so he's not going to score more goals probably than Marmoush, but we need to see obviously what's going to happen. But Florian Wirtz is more of a creator, as you can see from these stats. Obviously they are from Bayer Leverkusen from last season: 0.43 expected assists per 90 minutes and 0.13 non-penalty expected goals per 90 minutes. So he's not scoring, he's not getting at least a lot of chances to score goals. And if you're looking at Marmoush statistics, it's pretty much opposite to Florian Wirtz. As you can see, he has 0.41 non-penalty expected goals per 90 minutes and 0.13 expected assists per 90 minutes. So it really depends what you want to get. Obviously, if midfielders are going to score goals, we want them more than those who are going to get just assists. But for an example, with Wirtz, as long as I saw the preseason games for Liverpool, he is pretty much involved in every action Liverpool are going to make. Now again, that doesn't give me the idea that Wirtz is going to score a lot of goals, but it is a good sign that he's involved in all the action, and I think that he's going to get a lot of assists this season. So it really depends, it really comes to you how you're feeling about these players, because if you want to go for Marmoush, I don't think that it is a bad idea. If you want to go for Wirtz, I don't think that's a bad idea. Now if we talk a little bit about Bruno Fernandes, obviously the fixtures for Manchester City are also better, so there are a lot of pros and cons to these options. Now if we talk a little bit about Bruno Fernandes, he's priced at 9 million, so he's more expensive than both Wirtz and Marmoush. Now I think that's for good reasons, but I'm not sure if when they priced him they knew about Cunha, about Mbeumo, about Sesko. Obviously they didn't know, and I just think that they priced him a little bit too much. That's just my opinion, but I just think that 9 millions, he's going to have a new role. Now I'm not saying that Bruno Fernandes is not going to score goals or he's not going to give assists, because I think that's still going to happen, but they're going to have a totally different front line, probably with Mbeumo, Sesko and Mateusz Cunha from Wolverhampton. So the points I think that are going to be a little bit shared from Manchester United, I mean the goals. Now if we look at the fixtures, Arsenal at home, Fulham away is not amazing in the first 2 fixtures. Burnley at home is great, but again, for the first 2 game weeks, I'm not seeing a lot of goals from Manchester United. Maybe in game week 2 against Fulham, they could score some goals, but Fulham are also a decent defense. So again, I think that Bruno Fernandes is going to play a deeper role. He's still going to be on penalties, so he's the only one of these 3 players who's going to be on penalties, which is a big plus, but I just don't think that we should rely just on the penalties, because if you look at his statistics, he's more consistent than Marmoush and Wirtz, because he has 0.24 XA and 0.22 non-penalty expected goals. So it's not amazing, it's not horrible. The fixtures are bad, as I said before. He's predicted to score also the most points from this list, but he's also more expensive. So I just think that in different circumstances, Wirtz and Marmoush could score a lot more points than Bruno Fernandes, and for that reason, I'm not sure I would pick Bruno Fernandes instead of them. But yeah, again, if we look at the heat map for Marmoush and Bruno Fernandes, Bruno Fernandes is everywhere pretty much for Manchester United. So he's defending, he's attacking. So he's not going to have the energy to score a lot of goals and get a lot of assists. I mean, I think at least. Now, again, a good point here is that Bruno Fernandes probably is going to get defensive contributions. So probably he's going to get involved in those DEFCONs. Instead of Marmoush and Wirtz, who are probably not going to do a lot, maybe Wirtz a little bit. But if you look at Marmoush heat map, where he is operating, usually he's closer to the goal than Bruno Fernandes, and that's where I want my player to be. Now, again, Bruno Fernandes is on corners, on set pieces. At the end of the day, it really depends on your preferences and how much money you want to pay for a semi-premium midfielder, let's call it like that. Hopefully I help you a little bit. Please let me know in the comments down below which one of these three players are you going to, if you're going with any. But now let's see the rest of the players. Okay, so now in the final part of the video, I want to discuss a little bit about the best midfielders from 6.5 millions to 8 millions. I think that here we have a lot of midfielders. Obviously, I couldn't involve all of them, but we're going to try to talk a little bit about other midfielders if there are any. But I tried to have some picks here, some interesting picks. Again, let's start with Gakpo, 7.5 millions. At the moment, he's really nailed for Liverpool. They didn't sign Isak at the moment. Obviously, if they're going to go along with the transfer of Alexander Isak, that could impact a little bit Isak minutes. The only problem for, the Gakpo's minutes. So the only problem for him, I think it is Ekitike. Maybe he could play as a left winger, but I just think that Liverpool signed Ekitike for him to play as a number 9. So although he could play maybe a little bit of time as a left winger, I just think that Gakpo is nailed at the moment. He's having a great preseason, and I just think that he could be an amazing value option at that price. Before we talked about Florian Wirtz at 8.5 millions. Now Gakpo is going to play 90 minutes every game week. I think that he could score obviously more goals than someone like Wirtz, and I think that he could be great value. If we look at his expected data from last season, his XA 0.18 and non-penalty expected goals per 90 minutes 0.33, so almost the best on this list. The fixtures, as I said before, are not amazing for Liverpool, but Gakpo at the moment, he doesn't have a lot of competition on his spot. So Luis Diaz just left, Nunez is going to leave, probably Federico Chiesa is going to also leave. So Liverpool don't have a lot of attacking options at the moment in attack, which is surprisingly to say because they bought a lot of players in this transfer market. So I just think that by the deadline, if for some reason they are not going to buy Isak, if they are not going to buy Rodrigo or other left wingers, I just think that Gakpo is going to be a really tempting option for me. Now if we move to the other one, Eberechi Eze, the same price, 7.5 millions. His expected data is pretty much the same as Gakpo. The fixtures are not amazing. They are going to start against Chelsea. That's why I think that Crystal Palace players in general are a little bit overlooked. Now again, he is predicted to score 22.5 points, which is really close. As you can see from this list, these players are really close in terms of prediction of points. So at the end of the day, it's going to be a decision for you to make. I'm just trying to present it and try to help you a little bit with your decision. Eze is going to be on penalties if Mateta is not going to be on the pitch, and even if Mateta is going to be on the pitch, we don't know. Eze took penalties in the past, so that's a big plus for Eze. I just don't like the first 1, 2, 3 fixtures for Crystal Palace, but he could be a nice option at that price. Obviously, if we talk a little bit about Rodgers from Aston Villa, he is the safe pick, if you want to call it like that. 7 millions, I think that I'm not sure at the moment how I feel about his price. I think that it is a little bit too much for what he can offer, for what he can do. Obviously, if he's going to perform like he was last year, definitely the price 7 millions is pretty much worth it. But if I'm looking at his statistics, he's not a really explosive player, which is strange to say because I really like Rodgers and how he's playing, but he's getting just 0.15 expected assists per 90 minutes, and 0.19 non-penalty expected goals per 90 minutes, which is the worst on this list. Now maybe he's going to be on penalties. We need to see if Aston Villa are going to get a penalty in the preseason, but at the moment I would be leaning towards Tielemans on penalties. So again, the big advantage for Rodgers is that the fixtures are great for Aston Villa to start the season with. They are ranked 8 on this fixture rating. So I just think that Rodgers, Watkins, these players are going to be great. If you want to go safe, if you want to play the fixtures, if you don't want any trouble with risk, with injuries, with rotation, I think that Rodgers could be the safe option for you. But again, I just don't think that he's the most explosive player and the most player to haul from this list. Now, if we talk a little bit about Kudus, 6.5 millions, a really popular option at the moment because of his price mostly, I think, because he didn't score a lot of goals and assists last season. He played for West Ham, so again, but he's going to play for Spurs. They have a new manager. They are going to play a little bit better under Thomas Frank. So yeah, if he was playing for Spurs from last season, I wouldn't go anywhere near Kudus. But again, now with the new manager, we could see some improvements. His XA per 90 was really bad last season, and his non-penalty expected goals per 90 minutes 0.24. It is decent. Now the fixtures for Spurs are amazing. That's also a big factor took into consideration why a lot of people are going to go with Kudus, and also myself. I didn't rule him out. I think that it is a nice price and he has the potential to be a bargain, to be honest with you, at that price. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about the other players. So Semenyo from Bournemouth, these players are not really popular because they don't have really great fixtures to start the season with, so that's a big reason, I think. Now Semenyo, 7 million, same price as someone like Rodgers, maybe justified if you want to call it like that. 0.11 XA and 0.27 non-penalty expected goals per 90 minutes, a little bit better than Rodgers, if you ask me. And also he's predicted to score the most points of this list, alongside Gordon and Eberechi Eze. Now with Semenyo, I think that Bournemouth are still going to be a great attack. They lost a lot of defenders this transfer market. Zabarni probably is going to go. They lost Huijsen, they lost Kerkez, so a lot. They lost Kepa Arrizabalaga, but in attack I think that they are going to be decent. They have Kluivert, they have Evan Nilsson. Now if Kluivert is not going to be on the pitch, we don't know. Maybe someone of Evan Nilsson or Semenyo is going to be also on penalties. I just think that he could be a great option at some point at that price, but maybe not for the start of the season, although just the first game is against Liverpool. After that the fixtures are getting a little bit better. Now with Sarr, he's pretty much the cheaper option if you don't want to go for Eberechi Eze. I think that obviously if you want to save cash, if that cash is going to help you make a big upgrade elsewhere, then just go for Sarr. But if you have all the money in the world, probably I would just go for Eze for the safety. We know that he's playing 90 minutes every game. With Sarr, he's not playing 90 minutes every game. Again, it is a little bit fluctuating there, but at 6.5 million he has the potential to be probably the best 6.5 midfielder in the game. His stats are amazing, probably yeah, the best on this list. 0.23 XA and 0.36 non-penalty expected goals. We were a little bit unlucky with Ismail Assar last season, all the guys who own him, because he had a lot of chances, but he also missed a lot of chances. So again, that's life with Sarr. Now if we move to Cunha, I try to include a Manchester United midfielder also on this list, because I just think that at that price at some point they could be some players we look at for our FPL teams. But for the start of the season, I'm not sure if I personally would go for Mbeumo or Cunha. Again, he had an amazing season with Wolverhampton, Cunha, although he overperformed a little bit his statistics. As you can see here, 0.28 non-penalty expected goals per 90 minutes, and he pretty much scored a lot of goals. He scored 15 goals or something like that, and his XA is 0.90 minutes. We know that he's creating a lot of chances. I'm expecting Man United to be a lot way better with Cunha and Mbeumo. I think that they are going to score a lot of goals. The fixtures are not great to start the season with, but if you think that they are still going to go like they were last season, Mbeumo and Cunha, you can just go with Cunha at the moment and save yourself a transfer. But I think that there are a little bit better options elsewhere at the moment for the first 5 fixtures or something like that at least. Now The last one on the list is Gordon. I tried to include him here because now with the possible departure of someone like Alexander Isak, probably Newcastle are going to buy also a striker. So Gordon is not going to play as a striker, but that's not needed also because he's playing better as a left winger. I think that if Isak is going to go, probably Gordon is going to be the best pick from Newcastle. He is 7.5 million, so at that price you can get players like Gakpo, Eze, Cunha, Mbeumo. But again, I think that he could be great, not at the beginning because the fixtures are a little bit tricky, but Gordon, he could be on penalties maybe if Isak is going to go. I'm not sure about that. Maybe Bruno Guimaraes is going to take them. But again, he's going to be involved in a lot more goals. We know that he's a really explosive player. He's a good creator. His stats were decent last season. He was a little bit unlucky with some injuries last season. That's why I think that he is a little bit overlooked at the moment, because I think that nobody is talking about Gordon at the moment. Obviously, Gordon, Barnes, Murphy, maybe there's going to be some rotation between them, but I think that Gordon is going to be nailed for this season. So yeah, I think that this was it, and it is enough for today. Thank you so much for watching this long. It really means a lot and I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like, hit that subscribe button, and I'm going to see you next time. Bye. Apoi în bag gura lor